So after I got all the deck material down all by myself, thank you very much. It's a good workout. I enjoy destroying things as much as I enjoy building them. But I don't enjoy doing concrete because I don't know enough about it. I stay in my lane. If I don't know how to do something, I don't do it. You know, could I do a roof? Yeah. YouTube University can teach me a lot. But at the end of the day, it's experience that counts. It's all those little tricks that you don't know. When I was doing plumbing years ago, and I was kind of a novice to that back in the early 90s, and a guy showed me the bread trick. And ever since he showed me the bread trick, I'm like, oh, perfect. Like, that's just perfect. And I use a bread trick maybe once every 2 or 3 years, but it's one of those things you don't know unless you've been there. And concrete is one of those things that I don't know unless I've been there, and I've never been there. You know, except for little small projects and stuff like that. So these guys came in 8 o'clock. I think they were here at 8. Well, about 2 o'clock they were gone, 4 of them. And they dug all this out and everything and got it down to the 4-inch level. Yeah, 3.5-ish. To make all this happen. I don't know the distance of this. I forgot now. I think it's like 30 feet. 30, 35 feet all the way down. And it's 8 foot across. An 8 foot is a good sized deck, front porch as it were, because this front porch wasn't that big. I think that's a 12. I think that's a 2x12, 2x12. It might be 15, but it's somewhere in that range. And so now it's much larger. The span at which the new deck can be built is much larger, literally from that window, right? From that window to the side of that window. So now this can be a definite, you know, 15, 18 feet going across there. And then still have excess room over here and excess room over here. This will be a nice walkway. And probably the new deck is going to have, when I say it won't be just single step going up, you know, it'll be the wide step going up, because there's no reason not to. 8 foot wide, 8 foot deep. And the water remediation for here, the gutter used to go out along the back wall here with this. There's the gutter, the 90 that's there, and it just ran down to the end to keep water from out of the crawl space and all that stuff. So what they're going to do is form in and make a little channel, not a channel, a gutter, and make a gutter out of concrete along here all the way down, so that water stays away from this wall as well, because the crawl space gets water from the front and the back. If you see all the mold and all that stuff, that's just from constant water saturation, and it gets down into the foundation, into the crawl space, through the block, through the cinder block. So having that channel there will not just divert water from the drain itself, but also keep it off of the cinder block with any luck. And it can be waterproofed. The surface can be waterproofed at some point too. But a lot of the water that gets into the crawl space was getting in through there. Again, mold growing back there, because it just inundates all this water running off of the yard down into where the deck was at the bottom, was like a frog pond. So that's going to be really nice. And they're doing the pour tomorrow, so I'm going to video the pour, and you will see them screeding out all the concrete, making it pretty and all that stuff. And the truck will be out here pumping it and all blah blah blah. So yeah, there's that. Then the other portion, this is 16 by 12. 16 feet from here to the end, and then 12 across. Again, water remediation is part and parcel. I'm going to get back to that. The water runs off down onto here and channels off down into the lawn and to the back. And so now, with this slab being here, it does two things. It gives a definitive walkway, because it's going to be concrete, and it also mitigates water getting into the crawl space through here. So it's going to be a solid piece of concrete going across to the steps to go up onto the side deck. But from about here on back is going to be a shed. So this will be a tool shed, lawnmower, etc., etc. All your junk goes in here. And this board is lower and that board is higher because we're going to have a flat concrete slab here where the shed is going to be. So again, my ignorance being what it is, I said, how come there's no shale? How come there's no rock down here? And I don't know why they didn't tamp all this dirt down. How come there's no rock here? Well, because we're using rebar. And I guess concrete guys can chime in on that, which I don't know. What he told me is because we're using rebar, we don't need rock. If we weren't using rebar, then yes, we would come in with a bunch of rock, shale, and, you know, beat it into the ground. It sounds about right. It's just funny because every time I've seen concrete, it's always got rock below it, some type of shale or rock or something, and then okay, and then rebar on top of that, and then the concrete itself. I don't know. I'm a tile guy, not a concrete guy. I'm fascinated by concrete because I don't know enough about it, which makes it fascinating and interesting and intriguing to me. But because I'm never going to do it, I don't have a huge thirst for knowledge. You know what I do? I do the same thing. I do the same thing to these guys that I like my customers to do. You know, when they trust me, it's like, do your thing, and they go away. And so for the most part, I stayed out of their hair when they were doing all this prep. For the most part, I stayed out of their hair. Because I'm not going to question all this stuff when they're the experts at what they do. Now, I might chime in and say to them, like I did with the rock, how come there's no rock here? Or how come this is all loose dirt? How come you don't tamp it down? And I don't know that they won't do that tomorrow. They might. They might hose it down and tamp it down. I don't know. But I trust them. I think they're good people. I think they'll do the right job. It looks right to me so far. But we shall see. But it's exciting. I wish I knew enough about concrete to really chime in more. You know, when I do tile videos, you know, I have a lot to say. Here, I don't really have much to say except verbalize some of my apprehensions and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But I shall be back tomorrow when they do the pour. Big. Yeah, I like it. You think I'm really going to do this? No, I stay in my lane. I stay in my lane. I know tile. I don't know concrete. I don't know cement. Well, I know cement. I don't know concrete. But these guys do. And because these guys do, I feel better about somebody doing it professionally. Professionally as opposed to me. I mean, anything's possible. Even with my ability, it would require at least 2 or 3 people. 2 or 3 people, and they have 4. So I am definitely not about doing concrete on my own because I have to be responsible for my own work. And I can be responsible for the stuff that I know how to do, but I don't know how to do this. So yeah, very, very nice. Very nice indeed. It's not finished because, you know, all the cream has to come to the top. Then they have to, from what I've seen anyway on YouTube, all the cream has to float up to the top. And then once that's done, then they come in with float, and they float it all off and make it all pretty. And then I think in a couple hours they're going to pull the boards off, and then they use that thingamabob that goes on the side there to make it pretty. And I think they got to cut it too. I don't know if they're going to cut this one where they put a line down, you know, for crack prevention. Crack, what's it called? I don't know what it's called. I'm just guessing on terminology because, again, the terminology that I have is limited exposure and stuff that I've seen on YouTube, which is not enough to take on something this big. Which is kind of interesting too, because, you know, you're always fascinated by that which you don't know. My customers and even people on my channel will comment how I make it look easy, only because I've done it for so long, right? And that's the crux, and that's the reason why I don't do my own concrete work. So, you know, these guys make it look easy ish, and I'm not gonna go there. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of skill. So yeah, I'll come back when it looks better. So we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there. It's looking good though. I think what has to happen, and I don't know, I'm guessing, in order, there's going to be a slope up that block over there like they started down here. There's going to be a nice pretty slope going down to stop the rainwater. Well, the rainwater is going to go down this gutter way too that they're building for me, and so that gutter way will have water shedding off there, but water going into that cinder block, and it'll be nice and sloped and pretty all the way down. But my take on it, because I don't know, I'm guessing that has to be as I said, the cream has to come up and all that stuff, and somehow, I don't know, I'm just talking out my ass. I really don't. I don't know. But I know that in order to get over to that side, to kind of like bring that up the wall, it has to be sturdy enough. I don't know if they're going to be, I've seen guys on YouTube go with boards, you know, they have boards that they put their knees on to where they can actually get onto the top of this and do what they have to do even before it hardens up. And I'm assuming that that's what they're going to do on that side. This side pretty much, and we got total sun on it too, so it's going to dry up faster. But this side, they haven't really done a whole lot yet. And then this is going to get remediated too. This is also driveway water that runs down, and it runs down this way like a little gully or whatever, like a little gutter. So there'll be a cap right here in this area where all the water sheds down, and it'll go straight into that drain, and then the French drain will go down once this is all dried and ready. A ditch will be cut out and a French drain will be put in there to shed all that water off to the corner of the slab over there. Looks good. Yeah. So all that rainwater that comes off of the gutter down at the corner will now have an easy evacuation route to shed off and go off into the woods or wherever it goes. So yeah, that'll be nice too. I'm gonna get your shirt. And these are guys doing a LNC Concrete LLC patios, driveways, sidewalks, stamped concrete, curb, and more. And that's their phone number if you ever want to use them. I had to go run some errands and go to Home Depot, and while I was gone they cut it, so I'm disappointed. I wanted to watch them do it. Look how nice that looks. Isn't that nice? I could not do a job like that. I guarantee you. I could do it after about my third or fourth one. I would have to I'd have to guinea pig until I got it right. And somebody ain't gonna like being the guinea pig, that's for sure. But you know, that's why you pay somebody that knows what they're doing. And here we are on the gutter side. Ooh, they even put a cut in the gutter. Nice. I don't think that's needed, but okay. It looks good. It looks good. I can't do it. I cannot do this. I thought about it, but yeah, I'll leave it to professionals. Yeah. Nice. So when can I put these in? So these have a the anchor. So it's going to go in maybe about an inch shy, and then the cap goes on top of that. So when could I put those?
You need to wait at least
About another hour or so. A couple hours.
you can try it doing now.
Okay. There's only like I'm only gonna put 3 of them in.
Okay.
But yeah, I just wanted to get them in there, you know, like, because I heard they have to go in wet as possible, because if you try and put it in too long, it won't stay in. Yeah. All right, it has been 2 days since they poured this slab. Do you guys think I was really going to do this myself? Ain't no way. I stay in my lane. I know what I can do and what I can't do. Could I do it? Possibly. I could be somebody's helper. that's about it. I could be somebody's helper. I like the way it turned out. I'm going to go over a couple of things right quick. Can I do right quick? I can't do right quick. A couple of things. You notice how things are starting to dry out, right? But incrementally and spottily. This was poured a day after, 2 days after it rained really hard. And so there was a lot of concentration of moisture and water and all that stuff all the way up to the edge of the house. So now all that water has to kind of escape up through the concrete. So yeah, eventually in the next probably 4 or 5 days, if it doesn't rain again, you know, this is eventually what it'll look like. Another thing, the water that gets into the block foundation of this house gets into it, you know, like all the water from all the houses above here come down here, and it just creates, when this deck was here, there's like a frog pond, and then water just penetrates through the block and it gets through into the crawl space. So the reason they went up at an angle like this is to stop any water that actually gets on the deck from ever touching the block. So yeah, this is actually pretty thick, you know, for 4 inches out here. This is probably a good 6 to 7 inches up on the edge here. And they did a very, very good job cutting it and making it nice and pretty, which wasn't really necessary. Look at this, a compound cut. That's so cool. And still made it pretty. And literally, like, I don't know the circular area why it needs to be cut, but literally did 4 different cuts on this slab. And I don't know that's necessary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 feet. I understood it was 20 feet that it has to be cut, but whatever. Anyway, oh, also, because the driveway might be taken out at some point to redo the driveway, the old driveway, they put in a spacer. It's like this foam, this very dense, it's not foam, it's like this particle stuff. I don't know what it's called exactly, but they put that spacer in all the way down. So in the chance that this gets broken up, you know, with one of those concrete beaters, that it won't affect this slab at all. So that was very cool, thinking ahead. The spigot the spigot was probably 9-10 inches off the ground, and now it's ground level. So yeah, the spigot needs to be changed out. That's easy enough to do. I can hear it's a very, very long pipe, so it's just a matter of going up into the crawl space, cutting that out, drilling another hole somewhere up here, and then reattaching a bib up there, and then filling in that hole with a little mortar. And they got right up to the vents too on both of them. I don't know, that's a big deal. That's not a big deal. Anyway, moving on. There is going to be a deck here, as there used to be. The one that I took out, right? That's all burned up now. It's all ashes. In order to build a new deck, this was integral in the process of pouring the concrete. These aren't tightened down yet because it needs to cure. But these bolts are 5 inches. And the last inch is risen above. So 4 inches down, it literally touches the ground, probably, or very close to touching the ground. So when the concrete is wet, those get put into the concrete. And they did a very, very nice job of like screeding out the thin set, or the concrete thin set. I'm still thinking tile. And then, you know, 6x6 posts. And I don't know, you know, it's like there are 4, 5, 6 different ways to put one of these in. You could drill in. This is adjustable. You know, which way you want to go to a certain extent. There's a lot of different ways to facilitate this. You know, hammer drill, drilling out a 5-inch hole and putting in an expanding bolt and all that stuff, an anchor bolt, if you will, to make that happen. But it was just easier, since they were pouring the concrete anyway, to slide all those down in there. They did, rather than just do a corner, a hard corner here, they put in this board at a circular. So when the water goes down here, it'll naturally want to take the path of least resistance, which is down this direction, and it'll just shed off down the lawn here. But they also did this. This is very, very cool. You can't see it on camera very good, but this concrete kind of slopes down, then this concrete slopes down and creates this little slope. And this slope now is a gutter. And with this gutter, all this rainwater that comes off of the roof, which is quite a bit, because there used to be this long flexible pipe that went all the way down to the end, and now that pipe isn't needed, because now the water is directed into this little gully drain thingamabob. So that's very, very cool. I like that a lot. And again, they just cut so nicely with this slope. And you know what, I was watching them, they did this by hand. They did this by hand. Like, I was thinking they'd get some type of large 5-inch PVC pipe and kind of like stick it into the concrete and pull it back out again to kind of form it into a half circular, but they didn't. They did all this by hand. So very, very nice. So it just drops down to the end. So good concrete job. Nice work. Very appreciated, especially on something that I can't do. Here's a deck pad, and the deck pad is, if I'm not mistaken, 15, either 15 or 16 from the corner down to the house. 15 or 16 feet. And then I believe it's 12, I want to say it's 12 feet going across, so 15 by 12. And again, very, very nice cuts. A little wider, just like on the front. I don't know why they have to do them so wide, but all the corners are nicely done. I like it a lot. They did an outstanding job. So what's going to happen here, this is going to be a 10-foot by 10-foot storage shed. Very, very level. Look at that. Level. So nice. And that's what Tyler's like to see. Tyler's like to see level all the time. It's flat ish and level. See that? It's like just a hair, tiny hair off, and that's it. Not that it's important. Water comes down this driveway, and this is the natural path that it takes. And so what it does, before all this happened, there used to be like a little gully that was cut out of the ground, and the gully would kind of force the water to go away from the house and down the yard. So what happened here is now there's a drain. That same piece of pipe, that plastic flexible pipe that used to be on the other side, is now in the ground. And then this is a cap. And so this got fashioned out for that water to shed and get forced down here into this drain, which is obviously sloped into the drain. And then it's got a very sharp 90 that goes into this pipe that's buried in the ground. And it comes around this corner, and then it ends right here. I don't know. But I do know I don't do concrete, so it's better to have, you know, other people doing what they do rather than you trying to, you know, be your own attorney. What do they say? A man who has an attorney for his client. Sorry, how does it go? The person who uses himself as an attorney has a fool for a client. Something like that. Anyway, that's it. Enough rambling. On with my day.